Kujo fights with every ounce of strength, his body straining as his hands tighten around the thrashing end human's neck. His face is marked by a blend of determination and desperation, knowing that failure means the end for both himself and Nero. With the last of his strength, he forces himself not to waver, an inner scream urging him to act before it's too late. With his body trembling, yet his eyes burning with determination, Kujo struggles to pin the end human beneath him, even as the creature's grip nearly crushes his strength. His scream echoes among the rocks, a testament to his resolve not to fall despite his body reaching its limit. As dust scatters, he forces himself to rise again, realizing that surrender would mean leaving Nero with nothing. Kujo recoils in shock as the end human strikes with sudden brutality, shattering a tree trunk into splinters with its immense power. His eyes widen, fear and dread flooding him as he realizes how narrowly he escaped death. The creature glares at him with a terrifying stare, as if daring Kujo to withstand the merciless fight that lies ahead. Kujo is jolted as the end human slams into a tree with brutal force, splintering the wood into shards. Shock and dread mix within him, realizing how narrowly he escaped death just moments ago. The creature's piercing gaze fixes on him once more, a chilling reminder that the battle is far from over and the dangers closing in. Kujo darts desperately to evade the end human's lethal strikes, each missed blow shattering the ground and trees nearby. Sweat pours down his face as he realizes the sheer destructive power of his opponent, knowing a single hit could end his life. Amid the panic, his mind races for a strategy, an ambush from behind, a chokehold, anything that might give him a fleeting chance to survive. Kujo weighs every possibility in his mind, realizing that striking barehanded or with a rock would only end in disaster. His eyes fall upon the trees around him, solid, unyielding, yet full of potential. A branch could become a spear if torn free, a simple weapon that might grant him a chance. In the suffocating despair, he finds a glimmer of a hope in the world around him, and his resolve ignites once more. Kujo finally grasps an idea that could give him a chance, a spear made from the sturdy branch of a tree. With fierce determination, he rushes to the trunk, desperately trying to break it into a weapon for ranged combat. Yet, the tree is far tougher than he expected, every tug and strike proving futile. Meanwhile, the end human closes in, and the precious seconds Kujo has to prepare quickly slip away. The end human's savage strike smashes into the tree with terrifying force, narrowly missing Kujo. The impact splinters the wood, breaking a branch free and presenting an unexpected opportunity. Nero, eyes burning with determination, shouts that this is their chance. Still reeling from the close call, Kujo realizes that this fleeting moment may decide whether they live or die. Nero cries out, desperately guiding Kujo, clutching his makeshift spear, freezes for a moment. His gaze locks onto the end human's chest, where the faint pulse of its monstrous heart can be seen. Sweat runs down his face, but his eyes harden with resolve. In this critical moment, Kujo realizes that one precise strike will decide whether they live or perish. Just as his spear was about to pierce the monster's heart, Kujo froze, seized by a hesitation sharper than the weapon he wielded. The memory of Tetsuhachi and the haunting truth that end humans were once people, broken and transformed by this cruel world, echoed in his mind. His gaze wavered, his grip trembling around the spear as the creature's twisted hand reached out before him. Kujo realized that striking this blow meant extinguishing the remnants of humanity that still lingered within the beast. Kujo's strike missed, grazing the end human's body but failing to reach its heart. The monster roared in fury, its hand clutching the spear with enough force to nearly splinter the wood. Kujo froze, shaken by the bitter truth that his hesitation had almost cost him his life. From afar, Nero screamed in terror and anger, her face twisted in panic as she scolded Kujo for his recklessness. Yet the end human's horrific gaze now locked onto him with burning malice, the danger escalating to its peak. The end human's brutal strike crashed against Kujo's face, blood spraying violently from his temple. His vision wavered, eyes wide with a mix of agony and shock. Though his hands still clutched the spear tightly, his body staggered, teetering on the brink of collapse. In that split second, the grim realization struck him. One more blow could end his life. The end human's devastating strike sent Kujo's body flying violently through the air. The spear slipped from his grasp, spinning helplessly before crashing to the ground. A raw scream tore from his throat, just as his body slammed into the earth with a brutal impact, dust and blood scattering in all directions. His head smacked against the ground, his legs twisted awkwardly, pain consuming every fiber of his being. With his face battered and his breath ragged, only a faint whisper escaped his lips. Kujo staggered, blood dripping from his temple, falling into the dust. The end, human, towered before him, its body trembling, unleashing a piercing roar. Kujo lowered his gaze, hands still clutching the broken spear slick with sweat and blood. Flickers of the past flashed in his mind, faint human faces then twisted into monstrous forms. His heartbeat thundered, his body growing weaker. The end. Human lunged violently, jaws gaping wide, rows of jagged teeth dripping with saliva. Kujo screamed, his face drenched in blood and sweat as the bite tore into his flesh. His eyes widened, pupils trembling violently, unfocused and raw with terror. Blood burst out, spraying through the air, painting his face and chest crimson. In an instant, the scene turned suffocatingly grim, life and death hanging by the thinnest of threads. The end human staggered back, body jolting as Nero's improvised spear dug into its chest. The wound wasn't fatal, but enough to disrupt the creature's assault. Kujo, on the verge of unconsciousness, stared blankly, blood pouring down his temple. The end. Human roared ferociously, eyes swirling with madness, claws crushing the ground beneath in blind rage. Nero, face twisted in both fury and fear, held tight to the weapon, pressing harder while Kujo trembled, slowly clawing his way back to consciousness. Nero desperately leapt onto the end human, clinging to its body with all his strength, though his small frame was nearly flung away. The creature roared and twisted violently, thrashing about to break free. Kujo lay sprawled on the ground, trembling, but his eyes widened, shaken by Nero's reckless courage. Determination flickered back into his gaze. Meanwhile, the end human's claws tore through the air, each wild swing gouging the earth, the ground trembling beneath the chaos. The end human's hand clamped tightly around Nero's neck, lifting the small child into the air. Her eyes widened in panic, her body kicking and thrashing desperately. Kujo's face twisted with shock, sweat and blood dripping down his skin. Inside, his heart pounded violently, torn between despair and the burning spark of determination. He knew, if he hesitated even for a second longer, Nero would be crushed before his very eyes. The end. Human loomed tall, its grotesque, emaciated frame casting a shadow over the shattered ground. Its claw-like hand gripped Nero tightly, hoisting her into the air like a fragile doll. Her face twisted in pain and fear, hair flowing wildly as her legs kicked helplessly against nothing.